What's up everyone, OJ here. Welcome back to another video, and today we're talking about something that to me is a little bit long overdue, but it was because of all the other content that was at E3. But yes, we are finally on to Fire Emblem Three Houses on the Nintendo Switch. So we've known about this game since 2017. Well, not actually knew about what the game was going to be, but knew that there was a Fire Emblem game in development for the Nintendo Switch exclusively. And it's finally coming to fruition over the course of the next 2 years. The game is dropping on July 26th, so that is next month. So I'm extremely excited to talk about some of this new information from E3 2019 and talk about the game in general, because there was a ton of new footage. There was a brand new trailer, treehouse gameplay. It was fantastic to see the scope and scale of the story into the combat that's in here. This is the most refined, best looking Fire Emblem game made to date, and you know what? I don't think it's going to disappoint. So let's go over some of the information from E3 with a really cool story element with a time skip. We're going Shippuden in Fire Emblem Three Houses. So with so much emphasis on Fire Emblem, especially at E3 with some of the treehouse, some of you guys might be wondering what this game is about. A lot of you guys have told me this will be your first one, or you're maybe looking at getting it. So let's go ahead and talk about the game, the premise, the setup, and then we'll talk about some of the new features and the cool stuff that I do like about it. So you have 3 territories, 3 houses. Which will you choose to fight for? Here, order is maintained by the Church of Setos, which hosts the prestigious Officers Academy within its headquarters. You are invited to teach one of its 3 mighty houses, each comprised of students brimming with personality and represented by a royal from one of the 3 territories of Fogland. As their professor, you must lead your students in their academic lives and in turn-based tactical RPG battles, wrought with strategic, new twists to overcome. As the story unfolds, your choice of house at the Officers Academy will greatly affect where you stand when the land becomes engulfed in war. After 5 years, and this is kind of the new stuff that they added in here. We didn't know about this time skip beforehand. Now we do know about it. So after 5 years, former friends from the academy must now face each other on the battlefield as bitter enemies. Which house and which path will you choose? Command a party of warriors to move and fight on a grid-based battlefield. Hire and equip new battalions to strengthen your units, and use combat arts to attack more efficiently. You've taught them well, and now their lives depend on your leadership. So, man, that's just very like a cruel or bitter fate, right? You're all there, you're friends, and then 5 years later, there's so much war going on and you're pitted against each other. I wonder where and kind of like what twists and turns the story will take, because Fire Emblem Fates, we have Birthright and Conquest. That was crazy when it comes to it because of the ties that the main character had to each of the different opposing parties. So we'll see what happens with this one. So here are some of the key features of the game. So the Officers Academy is home to 3 houses: the Black Eagles with the house leader Edelgard, the Blue Lions with the house leader Dimitri, and the Golden Deer with the house leader Claude. Which house will you choose? Well, for me, it will be all 3 of them, because I'm going to be playing the game 3 times. As a professor, lead students in their academic lives and on the battlefield. A turn-based tactical RPG that puts new twists on strategic battling. Freely roam Garrick Mark Monastery and interact with students in a variety of ways to bond with them. In the classroom, tutor your students to help them grow in the skill sets required to become specific classes. Fortify your units with battalions for the first time. Utilize new combat arts to strategize your moves, and also face a new type of giant enemy, the demonic beasts, as well. So once again, Fire Emblem Three Houses is launching on the Nintendo Switch exclusively on July 26th. There's some cool stuff that I'm going to be doing myself when it comes to giveaways and playing the game, so make sure you guys stay locked in. More details in July on that. But let's talk about Fire Emblem Three Houses and the new trailer first, then we'll get into some of the treehouse gameplay and what I'm most excited about. So they had the trailer, and they didn't really take too long. I think it was like a minute something long for the trailer, but what it showed off is some really cool stuff. It showed off the time skip in the game. So before, we didn't know about it. It was more of a story trailer. Showed off what they looked like at the beginning, then kind of what they looked like 5 years. But they really emphasized the time skip and what's going on there, and more of the story elements and how you're pitted against each other. And there's probably going to be times where all of them are just right there, and you're probably going to have to make some really difficult decisions and choices, which is going to end up being sad no matter what. And I kind of feel that's what's going on here. This is a gritty, kind of darker story theme, even though it's like, you know, you're at an academy and you're kind of teaching students. There's definitely going to be some playful elements to it, because Fire Emblem always has that, even in like Fire Emblem like Conquest, which is a super sad story at the end of the day. But I mean, I think that this one's even going to take it up a notch. You have 3 different people that you formed really strong bonds with and everything, or 3 different houses within there in terms of main characters. So to me, that trailer really just kind of showed me, wow, they're taking it to the next level when it comes to the storytelling and what they're going to do in this game. They also showed off some type of heightened or Super Saiyan mode, Super Fire Emblem Saiyan mode that the main character can go through. So I'm interested to see, like, with this hair and how it's even lighter. It's green, then it's even like a lighter-ish type of green. So there's something that happens there. There's something with this main character that you are that becomes something greater that could potentially save the whole land. And on top of the whole war being pitted against each other, you still have some of the demons that they talked about. You still have some of the main villains that they talked about that we discussed in a previous video. So with all of this going on, it seems like there's going to be so much plot twists in here, and there's going to be so much replay value. This is definitely going to be, to me, the most in-depth Fire Emblem game that we've ever seen. And they're going to have a lot of stuff in here. They really took that extra time, because remember, guys, it was supposed to come out in, I think, like spring or summer of 2018, but then it ended up getting delayed, and then ended up getting delayed again. It got delayed to spring 2019, and then it got delayed to summer. So they took a few different delays. They have Koei Tecmo helping out with the game in terms of things. But overall, looking at some of the combat, we can kind of shift into that and what they've done. I love how they've brought back the combat arts, Shadow of Valentia. There is going to be weapon durability. The weapon triangle is back as well. But I think all of the new things that they've added in order to add more depth for the experienced Fire Emblem player, but also bring in new players, has been fantastic. They have a tutorial in there, so if you're new to the game, you'll definitely get into it. You can play on the easier mode, so don't be intimidated by the way that the game looks or by the strategic elements, that it's not like a action RPG. You'll still be able to hop in there and have some fun, and the game is animated beautifully when it comes to like the different combat and the different types of combat arts that you can do in the game. It just looks phenomenal, especially if you're going from the Nintendo 3DS all the way to Nintendo Switch. There's been a major upgrade there. So I love the speed, because I was watching the gameplay at the treehouse, and the speed of being able to move the cursor around, which is very important that it moves swiftly, being able to quickly see without having to, like, know what's going on in terms of what the enemy space movement is, being able to see if you move into an area, you can know if, hey, these enemies can attack you. You'll see the lines kind of going into that person, so you'll know that, hey, if you move right there, you could potentially be attacked by these enemies. So they have a lot of UI improvements and changes in order to make you make better strategic moves on the battlefield. So when you're playing the harder difficulties, you're gonna be like, okay, that's gonna be a problem here. We're gonna have to make sure that we adjust this unit into this place to make sure this person doesn't die. And that's gonna be the biggest thing with me with this game, is how the combat and the battalions and the upgrading and everything works. To me, it's a lot more functional now from what they showed at the treehouse. They showed a lot of some of the stuff at the monastery where you're talking to your combat troops, you're kind of upgrading, you're learning different things. You have to really make sure that you prepare for battle and get everything set before you kind of hop in. I think on the easier difficulties, you could probably just kind of go in. You don't have to upgrade much. You can kind of just go around and level up normally, because anytime that you attack an enemy, you get experience. Anytime you get attacked or you attack an enemy, you get experience because you counterattack. So I do think that you can just do that if you're just looking to get a casual experience, but for those who are kind of looking to get the more in-depth experience, they're definitely going to have all of those tools built in for you. A lot of the stuff that you didn't see in previous Fire Emblem games when it comes to side quests, or when it comes to just kind of like the little idle things you can do in a lot of other RPGs. Before, it was just kind of like, okay, you can kind of walk around, talk to somebody, but that was it. I mean, you had some stuff that where you can eat, you can prepare for battle, get some buffs, but this one has like fishing mini games, and this one has all sorts of other stuff. And the way that you learn and you level up in terms of changing classes and all that is very functional, because it's not just a master skill that kind of appears that you get out in the field and say, okay, well, now I'm this class after I reach level 20 or anything like that. This time, it's so much more functional with what they're doing. It's better because you don't lose some of the benefits in terms of weapons that you can take when you switch classes, and they showed that off a little bit too when it comes to Treehouse. They did not show off any of the time skip stuff. They're kind of waiting for people to kind of see that on their own, and I'm glad that they didn't, even though I kind of wanted to see what was going on, but I don't want any type of spoilers or anything like that, so I'm okay with them not showing off that. But overall, Fire Emblem Three Houses looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm really excited for it. I was so happy they showed off some good gameplay footage at the Treehouse segment and explained some of the other things and showed off this time skip. To me, that was one of the most interesting things about Fire Emblem Three Houses is that 5-year time skip and what's going to happen after that. It's going to incentivize me to play all the different routes because that's what we needed. I mean, I don't want to play the same game 3 times and there's barely any just cutscene differences. There's going to be major choices and changes in different cutscenes. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to this one on July 26th. So what did you guys think about Fire Emblem Three Houses at the E3 presentation in addition to the Treehouse gameplay? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for this RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.